Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, I want to discuss certain signs that you should be aware of relative to poor blood circulation. And you see, this is a main area of focus in the world of acupuncture. When we administer treatments to our patients. And, we're always concerned as to how well is qi and blood circulating throughout the body. Because blood to an acupuncturist is yin in nature, qi sort of has this yang aspect to it because that's the energy that moves the blood. The blood is there, it's full of nutrients, oxygen, and it's important with regard to being in a good state of health. But with blood being abundant with nutrients and oxygen and so forth, you need something to move it now to the internal organs throughout the entire body. And it's qi that's moving the blood throughout the body. So regardless of whatever your health concern may be when you see an acupuncturist, always know in the back of your head that they'll also be focused on qi and blood circulation. Now, when there's poor blood circulation, poor qi circulation, because you see qi tends to stagnate periodically relative to, our diet or levels of stress, just mental disposition. I mean, there's many things, trauma, injury, that can cause qi to stagnate. And when qi stagnates, it impedes the proper circulation of blood throughout the body. And now you have problems. But just from a general standpoint, I want to address some signs that you may notice, but you don't know what's going on. But these are signs that there's poor qi and blood circulating throughout the body. And one is, are you noticing impaired cognitive function? Because poor circulation of qi and blood throughout the body can affect a person's brain function. Because the nutrients that are in your blood, such as oxygen and minerals and vitamins, everything that's there, red blood cells, which carry the oxygen. The brain requires this. And you see, to reach brain oxygen intake and nutrients depends on the circulatory system running smooth. So is qi and blood flowing smoothly throughout the entire body, and this includes the brain. And when there's poor circulation of qi and blood, the brain can suffer and you can experience cognitive impairment, i.e., there can be difficulty in concentrating, there can be memory loss, and so much more. There's just so much involved. So the proper flow of qi and blood throughout the body is very important. Okay, because you see, if there's a reduction in cerebral blood flow, changes in blood pressure are now the main factor in cognitive deficit. Now, another sign can be digestive system disorders. Now, when the flow of qi and blood is impaired, there you have it. You know it's affected. You know the two main organs I always talk about, and that's the spleen and stomach. Now, the spleen to an acupuncturist functions different from the spleen to a medical doctor. And if you sit with an acupuncturist, they'll explain in detail how that works. But when there's impairment of the spleen and you're faced with, let's say, spleen qi deficiency, it's going to affect the amount of blood being produced as well as qi, because the spleen and stomach is responsible for the production of postnatal qi and blood. And then you're going to experience digestive disorders because your digestive system requires blood supply that's rich in oxygen so that it can carry out a myriad of functions, such as, like, let's say, digesting food. So when qi and blood is circulating poorly, your digestive system will experience a decline in function, therefore leading to various digestive problems. And it'll begin with stomach pain, colitis, diarrhea, several problems. And we experience this a lot at the Acupunctures My Life clinic here in New York City. And we go over this with our patients in detail. I can't cover everything in a podcast, and this is why, I'm always recommending that you see an acupuncturist. This is why I'm always saying, take a minute. Like I want you to do right now. I want you to stop everything. I want you to, if you're in the gym and you're lifting something heavy, or you're at work lifting something heavy, put it down for a sec. If you're at work or in school, class, library, or home working remote, and you're typing something on your laptop or whatever, stop for a second. If you're driving a vehicle, you're driving a truck or a bus or a car, pull it over to the side of the road. If you're flying a plane right now and you don't know how to work autopilot, just land it real quick. Land it quickly at your nearest airport. And if you're crossing the street, I want you to hurry up and safely get across the street. And now I want you to take a second and I want you to close your eyes. And I need you to say to yourself, while your eyes are closed, acupuncture is my life. And now open them. Boom. You are now brand new. And brand new you are. Now, you know what else you can suffer from as a result of poor qi and blood circulation, which is why I stress make acupuncture part of your life, is a weakened immune system. Why? Because your immune system works together with your circulatory system. Of course, the flow of qi and blood heavily impacts your immune system, which is, to an acupuncturist, your wei qi, which is governed by the lungs. And they work together to protect the body from the invasion of pathogenic factors, fight off diseases. And if there's poor circulation, your wei qi or your immune system can no longer properly resist diseases. It'll become weak due to, let's say, a decreased supply of clean oxygen, adequate nutrition, as well as various other important factors that are carried inside of your blood. And you see, your white blood cells depend on the proper flow of qi and blood throughout the body. Okay, so if if it's not circulating properly, that being Qi and blood, and it's in a bad state, there's stagnation, there's deficiency, whatever the case may be. Your immune system, the state of your immune system will decline, and you become more susceptible to disease because the surface of your body, the weight level of your body would no longer be able to protect you properly. And you'll also notice things like wounds that take a longer time to heal. You notice these things, get yourself into an acupuncturist as soon as possible. Now another is, do you notice that you're fatigued a lot, frequently, and it seems to be excessive? Now, because I say a lot, move around, exercise, and so forth. We understand physical exertion causes fatigue, goes hand in hand. But you see, when it's excessive, when it's frequent, this can be a sign of poor circulation of Qi and blood throughout the body. So your muscles are not being provided with adequate nutrients and oxygen, which is needed to maintain adequate energy levels. So your metabolism will slow down and you'll tend to feel lethargic, which isn't good. And your body now enters a conservation state or mode to save energy, because energy is seen as scarce. And an acupuncturist understands that there's a disruption of some sort, or a disruptive pattern causing this poor circulation of Qi and blood throughout the body. Another is, do you notice, let's say, swelling in your lower extremities, like feet and ankles? Sometimes when this happens, it can resolve on its own. But this is a lower jiao issue, or can be. Upper jiao can be involved because the heart is in the upper jiao, lungs are in the upper jiao, lower jiao has the kidneys and liver. Is there a disruption in communication between the upper jiao, the heart being in the upper jiao, and the kidneys being in the lower jiao, that's causing your feet and ankles to swell? You see, seeing an acupuncturist, they'll be able to tell you. Because if your legs are not receiving enough blood, they'll tend to try and balance out with extra utilization of extra body fluid. And in doing that, it'll cause swelling that can become so intense that you can experience symptoms such as pain and numbness, and your legs can even turn black or blue. This happens, you need to be seeing an acupuncturist. Another sign can be varicose veins. Which tends to signify the poor flow of Qi and blood throughout the body, because your veins will become enlarged. And they tend to usually appear on the back of a person's leg. And it occurs because of weak venous valves, indicating that there's some type of obstruction or stagnation in the flow of Qi and blood, which now tends to overburden your veins. And pressure builds up, and it tends to lead to swelling of the veins, and it can cause pain. It can be very uncomfortable in that area. Again, this is why you should be seeing an acupuncturist. I tell you over and over, health is wealth. I say this all the time. The wealth, many people think it's in the bank or in an investment account or an app on their phone or a cryptocurrency account, which is, an investment account. Many individuals feel the wealth is in their wallet, their purse, their pocket. No, it's not. And the wealth is not under your mattress, it's not in a shoebox in the closet. It's not in a safe in your office, nor is it under the doghouse in the backyard. The wealth is in you. That's what the wealth is. But let me ask you this. Do you also tend to experience cold hands and cold feet? It's another sign of poor circulation of chi and blood throughout the body. Because if chi and blood was circulating properly, normal body temperature everywhere, your hands 98.6, feet 98.6. I mean, it'll be even across the board. So when there's poor flow of chi and blood throughout the body, it can't maintain proper temperature in your hands and feet, because chi and blood is being impeded from reaching distal parts of the body, such as your toes and your fingers. And again, your body goes into conservation mode, and the heat becomes more focused in your core to keep you alive. So it's important that you're aware of these things. And you see, acupuncturists tend to enlighten their patients. About things like this and the importance of proper circulation of chi and blood throughout the body. Another is, do you ever experience, and I get this a lot at the Acupuncture My Life clinic here in New York City, do you ever experience numbness in your extremities? Tons of patients walk in. Hey doc, it's my fingers, my toes, my feet feel numb. Even some will even complain about the entire lower legs and forearms. Why? Because you're not receiving an adequate amount of chi and blood flow to those areas. Now, if you're suddenly feel this sensation in your left arm, this can be a sign of a heart attack. So you want to seek emergency care first, and then you want to shoot straight over to an acupuncturist. You see, poor circulation of chi and blood throughout the body can cause much in the way of problems, many disorders, various signs and symptoms. And for the most part, many individuals will remain largely asymptomatic until they reached an advanced stage. A lot of times we tend to ignore signs and symptoms. But that becomes hard to ignore if you were seeing an acupuncturist on a regular basis. Then it becomes hard to ignore, which is why I'm constantly reminding you to make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?